Alright guys, now let's talk about viewport in more detail. Although we have discussed this viewport many times, we know what is viewport. The viewport is a visible area of the window in which web content can be seen. Often the viewport size varies from device to device. As we all know, each and every device has their own screen sizes. So that's why the viewport size varies from device to device. Okay, I'll show you something here. If you remember, at the beginning of this responsive web design topic, while we were experimenting the things, I mentioned that this meta tag is really important. Do not miss this meta tag. I hope you remember. So what is the importance of this meta tag? I'll show you here. But before that, let's have a look how our page looks. So here we have page, a web page that we have already created in our earlier videos. Let's see it is responsive or not. So we all know that it is responsive because we made it. Okay, so this is the responsive website. Now let's comment out this meta tag. Save this, have a look here. Fine. Yeah, now let's reduce the size of the screen. Okay, as soon as we remove that meta tag, we can see our layout is not responding as we have styled it. This image as well as this heading and paragraph is not breaking into new lines. Similarly for these images, that's the importance of that meta tag. So that's why I was saying that meta tag is really important. If you miss this meta viewport tag, you may not find the expected result for the different devices. So what is the use of this meta tag that we have seen? Now let's discuss this meta tag in more detail. Actually, earlier the websites were only designed and developed for computer screens. Then we started surfing websites on mobile devices or smaller screen devices. The website designed for the computer screen was fixed and large to fit on the smaller viewport. Earlier we used to design and develop our website for the computer screen or for the desktop screen. So those websites were hard enough to fit into the smaller devices. So therefore, to fix the issue, responsive web design came. As we have already discussed what is responsive web design. And nowadays, mobile devices are pretty good to display website with responsive web design with some little bit of assistance. We know how we can display the same website on the mobile also and same website on the larger devices also. So for that purpose, this meta tag has been invented. This meta tag has been invented by the Apple, and this is known as meta viewport tag, which let us to control over the viewport size, scale and resolutions of the website depending upon the different screen sizes. So now let's see what are the things inside this meta tag is there. Let's see in details about this. But before that, always remember the meta viewport tag you should be always applying, and it should be always inside the head tag of the HTML document. Now let's see what are the different things here. This is your name, that is meta name viewport, that's why it is known as viewport meta tag. And inside the content there are different things which can be written or which can be defined. The very first thing is width is equal to device width. This part here, the width is equal to device width, will inherit the default width of the device for the best result and best view. So whenever our layout will open in any devices, automatically the layout will adjust according to the width of that particular devices. If it is open in say mobile devices, it will automatically adjust according to the mobile devices, say any devices, maybe Galaxy S5, say iPad Pro. So this meta tag is playing its role, and this width is equal to device width is defining that whatever the width of the screen size will be, automatically our layout will adjust in that way. After that, apart from the viewport width, we can also apply height is equal to say height is equal to device height. Save this. Now let's give it a refresh here. Alright, actually we don't require to apply this because we know we can scroll top to bottom on any devices. So height is not required, only the width, so that our layout should accommodate according to the width of the device. We do not get any like horizontal scroll bar. Okay, after this, initial scale is equal to 1.0. The initial scale of the website should be set to 1. That sets the zoom level when page load for the first time. So whatever the initial scale here we are defining, it sets the zoom level of the layout when it loads. So we can say any value. So by default we should be always applying 1.0 so that the zoom level of the layout should be normal. And we can also say here to save this. Now let's give it a refresh. If you can see, as here we have said initial scale 2.0, so our layout is scaled 2 times, so it is zoom level 2 now. We can see, we can say any values, so let's say 5. Save this. Now say give it a refresh here. So this time our layout is zoomed by 5 levels. So here we have applied 5.0. So we can apply this value 5.0, like any values. It should be between 0 to 10 only. We should not be applying more than 10. It should be between 0 to 10. You can say, if I say 0, let's see how it looks. Give it a refresh. Okay, here as we can see now that there is no content on our page as zoom level is 0. So we can apply any values to here in between 0 to 10. Whatever the values will be applying here, by that amount our layout will be zoom. Okay, nice. Now as we all know, it should be always 1, so let's keep it 1.0 only. Save this, get back to normal. Perfect. Alright, let's see for the different devices also. Nice. So now it is zoomed by 1.0. That's a default one. We should be always keeping initial scale 1.0. Apart from initial scale, to control the scalable capability of the page, there comes few other properties also. Those are minimum scale, maximum scale, user scalable. So we can provide all those values also. So we have minimum scale. We'll be applying value for that. Let's have maximum scale also. Okay. Now we'll be applying, but before that, actually the minimum scale and maximum scale values will determine how smaller or larger the viewport of the device will be scaled. That means when we zoom or when we scale our page here, that will decide how much it can be scaled up, that means maximum scale, or how much it should be scaled down, that means minimum scale. And the value for the minimum scale must be either equal to initial scale or lower than the initial scale. For example, if we have initial scale 2.0, so it should be, the minimum scale should be either 2.0 or less than the 2.0. We can be saying 1.0. And similarly goes for the maximum scale. So the value for the maximum scale will be either equal to the initial scale or greater than the initial scale. So we have initial scale 2.0, so we should be saying 3.0. Okay, this is how we can control the scalable capability of a layout. And apart from this, we have one more property, that is user scalable. So here we can say user scalable. By default the value is yes. Save this, then give it a refresh. Okay, so now as here, as we have applied initial scale 2.0, so our layout is scaled by 2.0, and we can zoom it up to the level of 3.0, and minimum it should be going 1.0. So you can zoom it, yeah, 1.0. We cannot go below the 1.0, we cannot go 3.0, that is higher or scaling up. Alright, and here we have user scalable yes. We can also say user scalable no. As here we were scaling our page, it was scaling. Now let's say the value no. Save this and then give it a refresh. Let's try to zoom this. We can see we cannot zoom it. I'm trying to zoom here, but I cannot zoom our page. That's the user scalable no. But if I say here yes, we will be again able to zoom it or zoom out. Give it a refresh. Yeah, you can see here I can zoom it or zoom out. Alright, perfect. The very first thing we need to keep in mind, whenever we apply user scalable property, we should be always providing yes value. although we don't require to apply this user scalable yes or no. By default it should be yes, but we should not be saying no. We should be always providing our users to zoom our page, zoom in or zoom out. It's just because turning off the zooming ability is not a good idea actually, and it also harms the accessibility, usability, also prevents disabled people from viewing our website as they desire. So never apply user scalable no. Again, here one more thing, that we don't need to apply all of these values, as by default the value should be initial scale 1.0. That's enough for the meta viewport. We don't require all of these values. So for a better view and better accessibility of the page on different devices, this much is enough. That is, meta tag name viewport content is equal to width, device width, and initial scale 1.0. And obviously do not forget to apply this meta viewport tag. Now let's give it a refresh. Perfect. See on different devices. Nice.